This is the current Nintendo console, the Nintendo Switch OLED. This, in 2023, is Nintendo's current model, and they are not going to be putting out a second one at the end of this year. But in 2024, they will be releasing a Switch 2 or a new console. And there has been an absolute myriad of different things flying around saying that this is the new Switch 2. Well, there have been a bunch of great renders put out from different artists that actually wanted to, envision what they think the new Switch hardware will look like. What I'm specifically talking about is an article from Yanko Design, which is a publication that took two different people who made this render and kind of did a whole article about it, and it put a video out about it that kind of shed some light on this great work from these two different designers. And these were two different people, Salvo and Ricardo, who are designers in their own right of doing different things, watches and different industrial designs and different things that they normally do for a living. And they put this mock-up together that is actually pretty incredible. If you're looking at the device, it looks like it's a completely redesigned, but same idea of the current Switch. Now, none of this is anything to do with Nintendo other than this is their hardware that they took and are saying, hey, this might be how it turns out to be next time, because they're not basing it off of, anything other than creativity. Which, if you look at this as a creative piece, I think this is really cool. Imagine if this actually came to fruition in a product. I think it would be very cool and possibly very expensive. So this design embraces what the first Nintendo Switch has really done, and the OLED since then, which is the colorful appeal and the tablet-like aesthetic. Let's start with the Joy-Cons now, because they are a slightly more chunky design, but that incorporates some cool decisions for when you actually get to play it off the console. So these two inner side pieces actually slide up and down when you lock them back onto the tablet versus when you're playing it handheld, basically to get a bigger controller when you're playing it handheld versus when it's attached to the device. This is pretty cool because it keeps the size of the device down, but it also gives you way more flexibility for doing different things with the tablet. Compared to the old Joy-Cons, these look a lot bigger. But honestly, I've never been happy with how small they are to begin with, but I do get that they have to fit a broad range of hand sizes, which I think is why the rail is that important. Being able to change your controllers and change it to the size of your hands is, I think, one of the biggest points that the Switch has over all of the other handhelds coming out, is that if your joysticks are too small, you can get a different controller and attach it to the console. Whereas if you have a Steam Deck, the size of the deck is the size of the deck. You can't really do anything different about it. This tablet has a bunch of different inlaid buttons and holes that are normally on a regular device. The power buttons, volume rocker, sleep awake, start, select, things that you need to have on the device but don't need to be pressed super frequently. And the Switch 2 Max really just looks like an iPad with controllers glued to the side, which, let's be real, this is basically what that is. It's just a tablet with controllers on it. And other things that have been meticulously designed is the UI. Just the user interface on this device looks freaking awesome. This one takes more of the Netflix approach, where it's basically a shelf you're looking at that has all of the titles on there in a nice big format, because the box art is great, and I feel like we don't get to see enough of the box art anymore. I'm a really big fan of the new Steam layout. I just wanted to make a quick video out there because a lot of different designs are being thrown around, and it's great to speculate, but we haven't really heard anything from Nintendo yet on the next generation console and wanted that to be known. However, there is a lot of cool stuff out there, so definitely take a look. The community loves the Nintendo Switch due to what it serves as a product, and people are excited and want to see a new version of this come out because it's been out for a long time now. I'm hoping that the new one will have backwards compatibility with all of the games from the Switch, and if any of this is going to be taken or seen by anybody from Nintendo, I really hope that UI and how the actual console works visually is taken at least into consideration, because how that cartridge slips in there and just puts it right in, and it seamlessly works together, and it's a very nice render. So I thought it'd be a good thing to talk about, and I'm excited for the new hardware. If it's any good as the Switch OLED was, not power-wise, but if it looks as good as the Switch OLED, then I'm excited to see what the new hardware can produce. Plus, when they release new hardware, they're generally going to release new games along with it. Another thing to note, too, is I think most of this material being used in this render kind of looks like glass and aluminum or even textured plastic. My guess is it's going to end up being plastic again. I don't think it's going to be like an Apple device where it's going to be $1,200 and made of complete blocks of aluminum. I think it's going to continue to be a budget product for the masses, so that everybody from a small child to an old lady who wants to play Animal Crossing can get their hands on this very quickly and for cheap. Not that $300 or $400 is cheap, but it's a lot cheaper than a $1,200 iPhone. So, with that all being said, if you like gaming or like other bits of hardware that you might not know about, check out one of these other videos, because hardware, technology, and games are why we're here. That or the pursuit of salty cucumbers in a pickly brine. I'll see you in the next one. Davey out.